And I did mention earlier that we have special little videos that our team has made. And the first one is by our newest rebel, Drea Humphrey. And she's based in Vancouver. And her very first video was about Trump supporters in Vancouver, including black Trump supporters that are supposed to not even exist. So so we've asked all our talent to make fun little ads. Sort of, not really ads, but little vignettes to break up the flow of tonight. And here is Drea's, which I have to say is very friendly and a little bit funny. Take a look.
Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News. I don't always read politics, but when I do, I read China Virus by Ezra Levant. You ever wonder why Trudeau took so long to close the borders to China? And why did he give so much money to the Wuhan Virology Institute? $838,000 to be exact. You got questions like that, then you need a better understanding to why the big virus that's plaguing Canadians is actually Justin Trudeau's relationship with China. Get China Virus book at chinavirusbook.com. Now let's get back to this election. Trump 2020, baby! Oh, wait a second. Is this like whiteface?
That is funny. Drea, how you doing?
Was I funny?
That was funny. Whiteface. I think you're allowed to do it. If Justin Trudeau can go in blackface, you are allowed to go in whiteface.
Exactly.
You know, I tell you, wear that Trump mask in certain places, it would terrify people.
Well, I actually bought it with the intention of wearing when it gets to the point that I can't walk into, let's say, a grocery store. That's the mask I'm going to wear since there's no requirements on the mask.
That's a great point. That mask, you could go into a store and say, what? I'm wearing a mask. Great. Now, in one of it might even have been your very first video, you talked to black Trump supporters who are not supposed to exist in the media narrative. And it's usually a media narrative spoken or written by white liberals. And there's been a real movement in Make America Great Again campaigns of black conservatives. Kimberly Klasick in Baltimore being an example that I've focused on. I went down and I met her in Baltimore and she toured me around the worst neighborhoods and said, look, the Democrats have run this place for 40 years. It's so dilapidated. What have we got to lose? If you really think Black Lives Matter, how about these Black Lives? I found it a very compelling argument, but I'm a white guy. Can you measure, do you have a sense at all if Trump's outreach to the black community is working? Other than, I mean, there's some very visible signs, like, I mean, whether it's a rapper like 50 Cent or Lil Pump, who was actually at one of his rallies in Miami, I think, or a Kim Klasick, is it percolating down to grassroots black voters?
Well, you know, I'm actually in a lot of black conservative groups as well. Prior to 2020, I didn't like being in a group that was only for black people, but you know, everything's about race now. So I am in that. And I see that there are a lot of black Trump supporters now. Some of them, which is interesting to me, they say that they're conservatives, but they're still talking about voting for Biden this time around. So one of the things I've noticed in those groups is there isn't a lot of fighting. There isn't a lot of talking down to each other for different opinions in the black conservative groups or the black political groups that I'm in, which I thought is nice. But when it comes to some of the white liberals, they seem to be very quick to kind of put black conservatives in their place that want to vote for Trump or that say good things about Trump. I feel like they're the most outspoken and they're the most judgmental, which is quite ironic.
Yeah. Well, I think of an incredible interview between Jimmy Fallon, a white liberal, and Chelsea Handler, a white liberal who used to date 50 Cent. And the both of them were having a conversation about 50 Cent being a Republican. They didn't invite 50 Cent to the conversation. And Chelsea Handler says, I've got to remind him he's black. And then she said, I guess I'll sleep with him to seal the deal. As if, I mean, it was condescending. A couple of white liberals saying, no, that black man's not thinking right. We got to change. And I just thought, that's the entire Democrat Party. As Joe Biden said, if you're not for me, you ain't black. And the thing, I think he gets away with it. I think it was only conservative activists said, what, that's racist. I think the mainstream media would tear apart someone who wasn't a Democrat who spoke that way. What do you think?
Of course they would, and they just turn a blind eye to it. And what's even more shocking, it seems like liberals turn a blind eye to that stuff as well. I mean, that's as racist as it gets. And when she said that about 50 Cent, it just reminds me of being put into your place. Like, you know, this is the box we have. It's taking us back so many generations. You might as well take us back to when we were not allowed to vote if you were going to pick our votes for us, right?
Are there any neighborhoods you're paying attention to? I had the pleasure of walking with Kimberly Klacik through her neighborhood, and it's Baltimore. It's so deep blue. I think she's going to get a record result for Republicans, but I can't honestly say I think she's going to win. To me, the best outcome would be Trump presidency, Kimberly Klacik getting an executive appointment by Trump to have, you know, some sort of inner city renovation rehabilitation project. Listen, if she would win, that would be amazing. I just know there's some things that are a bridge too far. Are there any neighborhoods, districts, counties, states that you've got your eye on tonight?
Well, I was really interested. I mean, I agree with what you said, and I'm watching California closely, not to, you know, see it be all red, but just to see if it's going to be more red than last time. And I do have a lot of friends in California as well, and some that are voting for Biden and stuff like that. And, you know, there's a lot of places, like look at Hollywood and that area, like it's totally run down and things like that. So I'd be interested to see if it's going to do better than last time, but I'm not holding my breath either. Yeah.
Well, it's a very exciting night. I'm out of the corner of my eye, I'm checking in. I think it's safe to say Florida is going for Trump. I mean, just 80% of the vote is in. Trump is basically a dead heat. Actually, Biden's ahead by 6,000 votes, and there's over 9 million counted. But, you know, the fact that, you know, it's pretty certain Trump's going to win it. I'm getting nervous about other places, but so far, so good. What do you think? I mean, I don't dare to hope. I don't dare to hope because I don't want my feelings crushed. Are you a hoper or a be carefuler?
I've been Trump for 4 more years, like this whole time since everybody's been talking about the debate the last 4 months or so. But yesterday I got very nervous. Very nervous, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what happened to me. I wasn't doing very well yesterday. And I woke up and I had a little bit about that. But since about noon today, I've been so excited and I'm believing Trump is going to win. Well,
listen, you're doing an amazing job. You have been such an asset to Rebel News. I love the stories you cover. You're holding the fort for us in Vancouver, very important city. There's so much news out there. And I love how you dig up stories that the mainstream media doesn't support. I love your support for freedom, including with the Chinese community against communist China. I love your support for the Falun Gong and for the Uyghurs. I think you're doing an amazing job. I hear so many people talking to me about your work. I want to thank you for being part of the Rebel team.
Thank you so much for having me as part of Rebel team, and I am honored to be a Rebel.
Well, it's great to have you, and thanks for the friendly plug for my book. All right, Drea, Humphrey, it's great to see you. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
There
Bye.
you have it. Oh boy, she's great. I'd say it's our lucky day when she joined Rebel News. I encourage you to go to our, elsewhere on our YouTube page. Maybe not right now. Stay with us for now, but later on, you got to watch Drea's vids. Very interesting, including a story. A lot of stories about communist Chinese fingers in British Columbia, which is a real issue. She's also been an expert reporter from the anti-lockdown protests in her city as well. All right. I told you before we started that each of our talent has produced a little video. I saw Drea's, that was the one about the China's virus book. I've seen Keean's, we'll show you that in 2 hours. I have not seen Andrew's yet. So you will be watching this with me for the first time. I literally have no idea what it's about, no clue at all. I've just been pretty busy. Without further ado, Andrew Chapados.
Hey guys, this is your pal Andrew, aka Andrew Says. Thanks for tuning in. As I'm sure you're aware, YouTube makes it difficult to find videos like ours because they don't consider us authoritative sources. What's that mean? It means that if you search for a topic or a news headline, instead of showing you the most relevant videos or the videos with the most views even, you're going to get CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, or even the Young Turks, really? Since I know that you probably love live streams, I mean, you're probably even watching one right now. If you go to rebelnews.com/livestream, you can sign up to receive alerts whenever we go live on YouTube. Whether it's Ezra's commentary or Sheila Gunn Reid and David Menzies' stories, and he's got a lot of them, you won't miss any of our updates. Sometimes we even go live for a big story. Sometimes we'll have guests like Drea Humphrey from Vancouver or the real Keean Bexte, not the fake one. You might even catch Avi Yemini live from Australia. Does he even exist? Does anybody know? Watch to find out. So head over to rebelnews.com/livestream to sign up, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything.
Well, I'm persuaded. I'm completely, and look at him there. Andrew, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I love the pronunciation of my name that you just had.
Is it Chapados? Is it Chapados or is it Chapado?
If we want to be straight Anglo-Saxon, we can just say Chapados, or we can say Chapados, or the Spanish. Yours sounds most like a Spanish version.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to practice my Latinos for Trump music, and I've been very poorly. Now, I think you told me earlier that it's actually a French name. Is that right?
It's French, it's Greek, it's everything.
Wow, you're a man for all seasons. I think that's wonderful. Now, just a couple days ago, you were down in Traverse City, Michigan, for one of the very last Trump rallies. Now, I say very last, I think he was doing 5 a day. So there's an awful lot of people who could say I was at the very last one. Tell me a little bit about Traverse City. I'm gonna. Do we have a produced vid from there that we can show also? Give us a preamble, and then we'll throw to one of your produced vids. And again, I haven't even seen them yet. I've been so busy. So give us an update of what it was like down there.
Well, me and producer/cameraman Efron drove all through the night to get there in time. It was freezing cold. Probably 0 degrees the whole time, lots of snow and flurries. People waited outside for at least 6 hours to get into this Trump rally at the airport. People packed in. There was loud music. There was a food vendor. There was everything. And people were so happy when Trump finally came onto the stage. As like I said, the music was rocking. Mike Pence gave him he was the opening act for him. And we got to see lots of great stuff. We asked a lot of people questions, which I think is about what you're going to see.
You know what? I'm so glad you went down there. I'm a little bit jealous, frankly, although it does sound chilly. Now, I understand we do have a produced vid that you made when you were down there. Again, I haven't seen this yet, and that's just simply because we've been so busy around here. So, Andrew, I'll throw to this vid, and then stay where you are because we'll come back to you afterwards, okay?
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
I just hope that the guy has an easier 4 years. He deserves it. He doesn't deserve what he's been getting. I hope he can just move forward and have an easier time than he's had to accomplish things for the American people.
What's something we hope Trump can accomplish if he's given another 4 years?
I would say the same thing he's exactly done already, right? The freedom, as my buddy's saying here, and continuously lead us in the way that any president should, or as he has said and as we has known, as any other president has done, he has done tremendously greater than any other president known in American history.
Go Trump!
Go Trump!
Woo!
That's it. Go Trump!
Go Trump!
What's up, you guys? It's Andrew Says here in Traverse City, Michigan. We're here at the Trump rally. We're going to ask people what they're doing here, where they came from. Why not Joe Biden, you guys? Come on. Let's go. Guys, what's the #1 issue for you guys in this election?
I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired, man. I'm just ready for change, as it has been for the last 4 years, and I'm excited for what's to come in the next 4 years through President Trump.
What do you guys...
Wait. Mine is freedom.
Freedom.
Freedom. I'm dead serious.
Yes, sir.
So what's the #1 issue that's important to you in this election?
The #1 issue to me is that our president is a man of strong moral conviction. He is a man that stands up for the rights of the unborn. He is a man that stands up for prayer in our schools. He's just been a really morally strong guy. And the people that he's surrounding himself with, Pence, Ben Carson, all the people, his cabinet, they're just also morally strong people. So it's important.
And then what's the biggest issue you're voting on this year?
Second Amendment.
And you feel like that's going to be taken away?
I don't like where it sits with the other guy.
Are you old enough to vote this year?
No, I'm 2 years short.
Okay, what's the biggest issue do you think that people should vote for Donald Trump for?
Probably so we don't have socialism in our country. I think socialism will destroy the United States and the free world.
Can you guys tell me a policy or something Trump's done in the last 4 years that makes you guys support him?
The China policy I like, the trade agreement, the USMC trade agreement, a lot of different things. The wall being built.
Everything he does.
I like everything he's done. There's not one thing I don't agree with.
He has done more for this country than any president ever.
He stood up for true Americans, created jobs, and made it so we could all be one.
And what's the number one issue for you guys going into this election?
Oh, go ahead.
Antifa fighting against people that don't love this country. 100%.
I mean, employability for the different people, the black communities help so much, all kinds of things that are just amazing.
I don't know what more Trump can do. He's already done just about everything, that he talked about. It's all about the country going forward. I think if we had Biden in there, we'd be going backwards.
One issue for me would be the economy. When the economy goes, that's kind of the way the election goes, most cases.
I mean, I got them all. The abortion thing, the tax thing. I'm not, I'm just a regular guy, and I don't like. We already gave Biden how many years? He's been around for a million years, and I didn't like the 8 years they were here. It was horrible. And then everything was fabulous until somebody bought the Wuhan and brought it over here, and that took care of that. That's what they're trying to use to get Trump with. It's not going to work.
Keep making America great.
Exactly.
What's something you hope Trump can accomplish if he gets in for another 4 years?
To make America great again. A lot of what my governor has done has harmed more people, and I've had to watch it for the last 7 months, and it's infuriating.
Can you go into more detail on that?
I don't really want to, but I actually was more of a moderate, and I can't support any candidate that doesn't follow the Constitution and refuse to work with other lawmakers.
Like, I don't want to get told my business has to shut down, or I can't go to the sauna at the gym, or the steam room, or the whirlpool. I 100% believe in freedom. You can try to protect things, not me. Help our government back off so we can be free. I want to be able to do what I want to do.
I just hope that the guy has an easier 4 years. He deserves it. He doesn't deserve what he's been getting. I hope he can just move forward and have an easier time than he's had to accomplish things for the American people.
What's something we hope Trump can accomplish if he's given another 4 years?
I would say the same thing he's exactly done already, right? The freedom, as my buddy's saying here, and continuously lead us in the way that any president should, or as he has said and as we has known, as any other president has done, he has done tremendously greater than any other president known in American history.
I hope he gets rid of abortions in our country, because if you look at it, it's 1 million deaths a year. That's basically a genocide. And I hope he brings the country together instead of further dividing us.
Is there something you hope Trump can accomplish if he's reelected for another 4 years?
Just keep on doing what you were doing before they brought the virus here. You're done. Keep going.
Why not Joe Biden? What's something about Joe Biden that you don't like or that makes you want to vote for Trump more so?
Joe Biden is not able to lead this country. Not at all.
And what's something that you can point to that Joe Biden stands for, or maybe something he said that you don't like?
I mean, is there anything he said that you do like? Come on. There's not even any time to put in enough effort to talk about it. So Trump has been there for us since day one. Biden's been against us since day one. You put a real Democrat in there to run against Trump, we'll talk.
Is there something Joe Biden has said or done that makes you not want to support him?
Everything. Destroy the oil industry.
He doesn't even know who he's running against.
Anything else? Is there anything good we can say that Joe Biden's done in his career?
Joe Biden's probably a nice guy, but he's a little past his time.
Is there anything positive we can say about Joe Biden?
Asking Republicans at a Trump rally for something to say something good about Joe Biden, you were really asking them to reach into a very warm part of their heart. I mean, there's a very partisan night, but it looked like a very exciting, it looked chilly, that's for sure, but it looks like an amazing time. I mean, that was in Michigan. Michigan results, only 11% are in. The fact that Donald Trump has a lead there is so irrelevant, I shouldn't have even mentioned it. 89% of the votes still to come. Obviously, Detroit, a big city, extremely Democrat. Do you think Trump has a chance in Michigan?
You have to hope he has a chance in Michigan and all these swing states. Obviously, it's a small sample size to take. That particular county where Traverse City is, they voted for Trump by a small margin, but they voted for the House Republican for a wider margin. So there's a lot of talk about him as well. Excuse me, at the rally there. So they're hoping obviously that they can widen this margin, because that'd be a good sign for all swing states if they can do that. Pennsylvania, of course. I'm hearing Florida is extremely close. I've heard you say that as well. And what do we else? We got Pennsylvania. We've got Wisconsin. We've got all these places that, and hopefully Texas isn't as close as you're saying, Ezra.
Yeah, well, it's a very interesting night. Andrew, thanks very much for joining us, and thanks for going down there to Traverse City. You take care. We'll keep going from here. See you later.
I just wanted to show that I'm not wearing my poppy because I just came back from the States, but that's my beret from the military. So
you know what? There you go. I'm glad you mentioned that. Andrew is a military veteran, one of several we've had working here over the years, and we're proud of you, and we thank you for that.
All right. Thanks, Ezra. Have a good night. And thanks, Sheila and Justin and everybody in the room there.
Right on. Cheers. Well, that's great. I'm glad Andrew reminded us of his service, and that's pretty cool to see his beret there. I understand we have Tamara on the line. Let's put her through. Tamara, how you doing over there?
Hey, guys. Good. How are you, Ezra?
I'm great. And I just want to introduce you to some of our viewers who might not know you. You, too, are a fairly new arrival. We found you, or you found us, I think.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I did.
Through our FightTheFines.com program, where we helped people who were given false or outrageous fines for the pandemic. You were one of our clients, I suppose, and we were so impressed with how articulate and passionate you were in defense of freedom and in opposition to lockdown. We said, well, my gosh, we shouldn't just help her fight the fine. We got to make her a rebel, and the rest is history.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's been a learning curve for sure, but I'm having lots of fun, so that's been great.
Well, I'm so glad to hear it, and you are so well received because you're a true believer, and that's what we love here at Rebel. We're not neutral about the big questions of good and evil and freedom and tyranny. We're not neutral, and we're certainly not on the other side like the CBC. Well, what is your observation of the night so far? I am more optimistic than I was 3 hours ago, but I'm still nowhere near saying Trump's got this. How about you?
Yeah, I'm really nervous over here. Not only is this my first live stream, but it's, an unprecedented or a very important presidential election. And I'm just following along on one of the interactive maps here. And I mean, I'm just really nervous. I feel like I could go into early labor, and that wouldn't be very good.
That's right. Well, you're a little bit preggers, which is extremely exciting. I didn't want to raise it. I didn't want to mention it. A lot of people think I'm preggers, and they say it, and then I'm sort of embarrassed because I have to tell them, no, I'm not actually pregnant. I don't know if you've ever made that mistake of thinking someone's pregnant when they're not. That happens to me all the time. So anyway, I'm joking around. Listen, Mazel Tov, and we're delighted that you have a little one on the way. I'm just joking around a little bit. Now, you made one of these fun little vids, and I caught a glimpse of it earlier today. Let's put that up on the screen to show our viewers, and then we'll come right back to you.
Sounds good.
We all know that Trump will keep America great, yet Canadians are stuck up here with the constantly filibustering Trudeau Liberal government. I'm Tamara Yugolini with Rebel News, and if you're like me, more and more Canadians are getting fed up with the continually corrupt, scandal after scandal, cover-up loving government. So come on, patriots, help us make Canada great again. To support our freedom-fighting and government accountability work, while sporting sassy swag, check out all of our gear at rebelnewsstore.com. We have everything to fit your liberty-loving needs, from shirts to hats to mugs to stickers. And of course, this sweet Make Canada Great Again toque. Head on over to rebelnewsstore.com and check out all of our catchy taglines and order your swag today.
Well, that's pretty friendly. We are getting better at our stuff. You know, we're slowly getting better at our merch. We got some fun shirts, and I don't want to give it away, but Keean Bexte has a super duper ad for later today about one of the shirts.
Well, I'm glad you said that, Ezra, because I was wanting to wear one of these shirts tonight. So I was going to ask where they are, but they're on the way.
You know what? I mean, and we are getting better at shipping. Shipping has been a bane of our existence. We also have, can we show them the unmask.ca? Tamara, you and I both share a sense of skepticism about the pandemic rules, including the insistence on masks that came in August, September, 6 months after the pandemic peaked. It was sort of crazy. But there are some situations where people absolutely are forced to wear a mask. And so we made something at the website unmask.ca. It's a mask that literally says masks are useless on them. So if you're forced to wear a mask, but want to let the world know you are not submissive and you do not do so voluntarily and you're doing it under protest, you can get one of these masks that say masks are useless at our website, unmask.ca. So we have a few fun things like that there. Thanks very much for showing that on the screen, Justin. Well, let me ask you one last question, then we'll let you go, Tamara. If you had to guess, would you say Trump's going to pull it off, or do you think it's going to just slip through his fingers tonight? What do you think?
I don't even want to guess. I just want to say that Trump has it, because can there be any other way? I mean, this is a big election. So,
well, from your mouth to God's ears. Great to see you, my friend. Keep up the great work, and mazel tov again on the baby.
Thanks, Ezra. Take care.
Very exciting, and a little person on the way is just wonderful. So here's a not funny ad. It's on purpose not funny, from David Menzies. And when it's done, you'll see David appearing right next to me. Here we go.
Hey folks, I know you like the way we deliver the other side of the story here at Rebel News, so then why not sign up for Rebel News Plus in order to get the full meal deal? When you are a Rebel News Plus subscriber, you'll get all our videos plus our TV-style long-form shows, such as The Gun Show, hosted by the ever-fearless Sheila Gunn Reid. And then there's my weekly recap show, Rebel Roundup. And of course, you don't want to ever miss out on the main event, and by that I mean the daily Ezra Levant show. We offer 3 types of subscriptions to Rebel News Plus. First, there's our monthly plan. It gives you full access to all premium content for just $8 a month. Or you can sign up for the yearly plan. That gives you full premium content access for an annual fee of $80 a year. In other words, you're getting 2 months of content free of charge. Finally, why not consider joining the Producers Club? This membership gives you full access to all premium content for a whole year, as well as amazing extras such as private get-togethers in cities like Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto, and Ottawa. You will also receive a special welcome gift and a wallet-sized Producers Club membership card, and you'll even receive discounts on special Rebel merchandise. All that for just $250 a year. Oh, what a deal. So there you have it, folks. Whatever plan you choose, you just can't lose when it comes to getting your full meal deal of Rebel News. Just go to rebelnews.com, sign up today, and enjoy.
David, that was great. Thank you.
I didn't know we were supposed to be funny.
It's okay.
I promise in 2024, I will give you a funny ad, Ezra.
David, you bring the content, but you also make it entertaining every day. And I want to say, we've got a lot of wonderful people here at Rebel News.
We do.
The team is growing. I love to see it. In fact, we've shown some of our new teammates tonight. Drea, Tamara, Andrew. I'm looking through the window at my friend Yankee. Great to see you. Shalom Aleichem. But, and I love everyone. Sheila Gunn Reid, bedrock of the company, chief reporter. But I have to say, and Keean Bexte, who we're going to talk to tonight, 10:45. Set your alarms, 45 minutes from now. I think I've told you this in private, and I think I've said it in the staff meetings, and I want to tell it to the world. You have been the star.
Wow, so nice.
Of the crisis called the pandemic. Your coverage from the very first day, you would go to the airports to see how the flights were coming in from China without screening. You pivoted to the freedom protests.
Yeah.
You are now helping businesses fight the fines, fight to open. And you've covered the province from top to bottom, Canada's largest province, Ontario, and I want to say you've done an outstanding job.
Well, that is so nice of you to say, Ezra, and it is such an honor with the risk of this sounding like the Mutual Admiration Club show to work for you. Without Rebel News, forget that I'm employed here. Where would we get the other side of the story? Precious few outlets. No one's doing this kind of coverage, or they're, in the case of the airport, about the flights coming in. I think by the time the National Post clued onto that, it was like 3.5 months after we were reporting this, and they were portraying it like a scoop for them. So thank goodness there is a Rebel News.
Well, we're very pleased with how the year is going. Our team is strong and large. We're telling the other side of the story. That's our motto. We really live up to that every day.
Yeah.
And so we look to the United States in our coverage of Donald Trump, and we're interested in it as citizens of the world, as neighbors of America, as Canadians, and how this turns out tonight. Of course it matters for America more than anyone, but we are closer to them geographically, culturally, linguistically, economically, militarily than any other country in the world, of course. And the cultural trends, the political trends, what happens in America has a huge effect on us here. Yeah. They do well economically, we benefit just from being next to them. They do poorly, we fail for the same reasons. Yeah. They have a renaissance of civil liberties and freedom, maybe we'll have some of that too. And the opposite is true as well. And so I think that this is as momentous a night for Canada as a Canadian election.
I think for the entire free world, Ezra, is watching this election very closely and with good reason. I mean, I got to tell you, I have some selfish reasons for Trump winning. For example, housing prices. You know how many American celebrities have said they're moving to Canada. Well, if that makes, Casa Menzoid bump by 20%, that's great.
Oh, they're not coming. No, I've never heard of a celebrity actually follow through. And there were so many of them in 2016. And by the way, why don't they choose Mexico? Why do they always want to come to Canada?
That's right.
What are they, racist?
It's always north.
Why are they racist?
The other reason I want Trump to win is for Sheila Gunn Reid. She is going to end her boycott of the nail salon she used to go to because it always has The View on. And she said if Trump wins, she will for once watch The View to watch the meltdown that'll happen, which will make it entertaining at last. But no, I mean, I think this might be naive or juvenile of me to say, but I think it's a fairness factor, Ezra. I think President Trump deserves to win given what he's done in 4 years. I think the best soundbite, and it's true, he has done more in 47 months than Joe Biden has done in 47 years. I mean, let's move the clock back pre-Wuhan virus. The American economy rolling along, stock market, historic highs, unemployment, historic lows, including unemployment of Hispanics, blacks, women, Asians. The fracking miracle, first time in 70 years, America, energy.
Yeah, that's incredible. And for Joe Biden to say he would phase out the oil industry, if Pennsylvania is lost to the Democrats by 1%, and it was less than 1% last time, it will be on that statement.
How, as a Pennsylvanian, do you vote for this man? And now, granted, a week ago, he switched gears after years of saying he'd phase out fracking. Oh no, I'm Joe pro-fracking. Give me a break. So based on that, also foreign policy, I think the most underreported stories recently, Ezra, has been the peace deals in the Middle East. It didn't even come up in the debate.
3, not just one peace deal, but 3.
I know.
And with more to come. And with the quiet support of other countries. I mean, for example, the flights from Dubai to Israel, now there's commercial flights, I think they cross over Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So that shows Saudi support. Of course, the King of Saudi Arabia has been instrumental in these deals.
Yeah.
You're right, if it were under Obama that these deals were done, can you grab, Justin, Can you grab the clip of John Kerry saying it's impossible? Remember that clip? No, for a peace deal unless you get the PLO terrorist group involved. I don't know if you can find that clip. You could probably find it quickest on Twitter by searching for John Kerry peace deal or something like that. It's just, they weren't even trying under Obama. If they had succeeded at getting not one, not two, but 3 peace deals in the Middle East, it would be all anyone would talk about. You would have every single Nobel Prize given to Obama, including the Nobel Prize for physics and chemistry. They would just give them all to him. But not once did it come up that I heard in the debates that I can recall. And listen, I know most Americans don't care about that kind of a foreign affairs issue, but I tell you, the media part issue does. Let me show you John Kerry, who is Barack Obama's Secretary of State, who worked with Joe Biden for years. Take a look at this.
There will be no separate peace between Israel and the Arab world. I want to make that very clear to all of you. I've heard several prominent politicians in Israel sometimes saying, well, the Arab world's in a different place now. We just have to reach out to them and we can work some things with the Arab world and we'll deal with the Palestinians. No, and no. I can tell you that, reaffirmed even in the last week as I have talked to leaders of the Arab community. There will be no advance and separate peace with the Arab world without the Palestinian process and Palestinian peace. Everybody needs to understand that. That is a hard reality.
It's completely false. When he says no, it's impossible, I think he was speaking for himself rather than for Israel's Arab neighbors.
You know, well then, Biden's in good company then, Ezra, because, I mean, if you look at the track record of Biden, he would have more success flipping a coin on decisions than the decisions he made. Going back to the Reagan years, Reagan's perhaps his most famous speech, the Brandenburg Gates, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. What did Biden say? He said, this is a mistake. You are poking the Soviet bear in the ribs. He was against the idea, and he was in office at the time, vice president of the Navy SEAL team going on that mission to assassinate Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, he was against that.
It's if you look at his history, he's always on the wrong side. Like I said, he'd have a better rate if he just flipped a coin. And I'm telling you, Ezra, and I don't know if this is going to translate into, and I think it will look good for the Steel Belt or the Rust Belt states, if you want to call it. If you are a man or woman that works with your hands, the Democrats are not your friends anymore. These people are forgotten. Remember, this is Biden, who was with an administration, Barack Obama, who said these jobs are gone and they're never coming back, who brought China into the World Trade Organization. These are the enemies of Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin.
Justin, do you have that clip? It was an ad that Trump ran about Biden and China. I think we used it in the monologue yesterday. You know that one? It's like a 2-minute ad. I'd love to show that here. The China thing, I think that resonated. The Biden's on the China payroll, the Hunter Biden's laptop and all that. But boy, was there a cone of silence put around that by the media party. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wrote this out because I want to make sure I quoted verbatim. The media party, I love, that's one of all the things you've ever coined, that's the best. But you know what? It's now obsolete, Ezra. It now has to be called the media mob. They're mobsters. They're in the tank. They're in the bag for the Biden campaign.
Oh, yeah. And the social media is the worst of it. Here, sorry, go ahead. Finish your point, and then we'll run that ad.
I think the jump the shark moment for how the mainstream media in the U.S. reacted was when National Public Radio was asked a question by one of its listeners, why no New York Post coverage of the Hunter Biden stories? Terrence Stamp, the managing editor for news for National Public Radio, had this, and I quote, "We don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories, and we don't want to waste the listeners' and readers' time on stories that are just pure distractions," end quote. In other words, the Americans can't chew gum and walk at the same time. The idea that they can't learn about this incredible scandal that if it was a Trump son, it would be front page every newspaper. That's your jump the shark moment right there when it came to the media, Ezra.
You're so right. Hey, we have that ad that Trump ran. I don't know how heavy this ran, but this should have been full tilt in those states where the factory is just up and left to China. Here, go ahead. This is a Trump ad.
ABC News investigation this morning into Joe Biden's son Hunter and questions about money he made from foreign business dealings while his father was vice president.
And did Joe Biden allow it? We're talking about millions of dollars in at least 2 countries.
Did you talk about China or your deal with China?
No.
A 12-hour flight over?
No, of course not.
That never came up?
No.
Less than 2 weeks after that trip, BHR Partners was launched, a private equity firm funded in part by Chinese banks.
He has come forward and said it was a mistake on his part to be on the board.
My son's business dealings were not anything with everybody that he's talking about.
What's your understanding of what your son was doing for an extraordinary amount of money?
I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board.
Hunter Biden holds an equity stake in a company that's taken over $1.5 billion in loans from the Chinese government. This is obviously an issue.
What they said is China would prefer Joe Biden.
China and Iran. China and Iran.
China and Iran want to see Donald Trump's defeat, and they're looking for ways to make that happen.
China's a great nation, and we should hope for the continued expansion.
Growth of China is overwhelmingly in our interest.
And there's much more to come.
And now the steel mill ain't even there.
Yeah, it's, all those Bruce Springsteen songs about the towns falling apart because the factory leaves town and the jobs go. That's the place. And who would have imagined that a billionaire from New York would be the guy to say to the working men of those forgotten places that I'm on your side?
And that's a thing too, Ezra. A few weeks ago, Ted Cruz had an incredible observation of 2 prevailing trends in this election. And one was blue-collar workers, the lunch bucket brigade, if you want to call them that, switching allegiance from Democrats to Republicans, realizing that these Democrats, with this Green New Deal, this $93 trillion albatross, is going to put them out of business. They are not your friends. So switching from Democrat to Republican. And conversely, the disturbing trend, and it's baffling, quite frankly, white college-educated women in the suburbs going from Republican to Democrat, the prevailing reason being, well, we don't like Donald Trump's nasty tweets. Yeah. Well, you want to talk nastiness? What we saw this summer, especially in the American inner cities of so many cities, Ezra, of Antifa and BLM types rioting, burning mom and pop businesses to the ground. You have this crew come in who turned a blind eye to that. Remember, mostly peaceful protesting as a Molotov cocktail bottle whips over the operator's head. That is coming to the suburbs. Who do you want? Do you want the law and order guy in charge, or the people who actually politically align themselves with the Antifa crowd?
Yeah, and never once renounced them, never once condemned them, never once told them to put down their tools. Well, listen, David, it's great to catch up with you. I'm keeping my eye on the clock and other things here. We have a sort of rough schedule that Justin has provided us. We've more or less stuck with it. We're running a little behind.
Okay.
We are going to get back to the Super Chats, but I see on my list of videos we have Streeters. How long is that Streeter vid, Justin? Yeah. On my list here, Menzies Compassionate Canadian Streeters. Do we have time to play that now? So I've got a list of little vids. Did you remember that one?
I do remember that one.
All right, so we're going to play that because, and this has a comparison of America and Canada, so what that is?
Oh, yes.
Right.
Okay, then.
Okay. I love Canada. It's the country I was born in, country of my parents, grandparents. I can support and admire America, but still be a Canadian. I'm a Canadian first, of course. But one of the things I feel confident in criticizing some Canadians for is their knee-jerk anti-Americanism, their self-righteousness and moral superiority. And Canadians think they're nice, but sometimes they can be mean. Oh, yeah. And they've been trained to be mean towards America and towards Trump. Yeah. I want to show our viewers this vid that you did of Streeters showing who's more compassionate. Let's roll that.
Who do you think is more compassionate? Is it Canadians or Americans?
I think it's Canadians, to be honest, yeah.
Canadians for sure, yes. Okay. And the other big news of the day is Donald Trump and the First Lady Melania, they have tested positive for COVID-19. What's your reaction to that?
Oh, honestly, I'm a good person. I don't like to say anything bad upon people, but kind of deserves it.
I don't care about Americans, period.
Not a lot of compassion coming here.
No.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Toronto. And folks, before I get to our story today, if you can, please go to journalistdefensefund.com. If you're able to, make a donation. Sometimes we have security that we have to pay for. Sometimes it's lawyer fees. In any event, we depend on your donations so that we can continue to bring you the other side of the story. Well, I'm here at Yonge Dundas Square in downtown Toronto, and a question springs to mind, namely, who is more compassionate? Is it the people who live in America or the people who live in Canada? And a supplementary question, what do people think of the breaking news that both President Donald Trump and Melania Trump, the First Lady, have tested positive for COVID? Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's go ask some people. Who do you think are more compassionate? Is it Americans or Canadians?
Canadians. Canadians for sure, yes.
I think it's Canadians, to be honest. Yeah.
Why do you say that, ma'am?
I don't have a good question.
How about yourself then, ma'am?
That's Canada too. Yes, sure.
What?
Who is more compassionate?
I think Canadians.
Okay, and why do you say that, sir?
We're the heart, you know?
Canadians.
Okay, why do you say that, ma'am?
Because we're nice.
And the other big news of the day is Donald Trump and the First Lady Melania, they have tested positive for COVID-19. What's your reaction to that?
Ooh, honestly, I'm a good person. I don't like to say anything bad upon people, but kind of deserves it.
He and Melania have COVID-19. Do you wish them a speedy recovery?
Fuck no. Fuck no. I don't care about Americans, period.
President Donald Trump and Melania have been diagnosed. They are COVID-19 positive. What do you think about that?
That's karma working her magic.
What's your reaction to the president getting COVID-19?
I don't know about that. Sorry.
Does he deserve it?
Yes, it is.
Do you have compassion for President Trump and the First Lady?
I don't.
Why is that, sir?
Just because I don't.
Hey, folks, well, I got to give credit where credit's due. You were the producer of that. You came up with that idea, that concept, Ezra, and boy, your spidey senses paid off. You, right across the board, not even a tie. Canadians, way more compassionate. What do you think about Trump testing positive for coronavirus? Don't want to say anything bad about somebody, but he kind of deserves it. Like, kind of deserves a death sentence, maybe? I mean, wow. It just backs up what you were saying before the video ran, that there's this, I don't know, is it, can you call it entitlement, a certain degree of smugness, maybe because of what the CBC has been preaching for decades about how we should think?
If it had been Barack Obama who had got COVID, you wouldn't have those responses. If it was Emmanuel Macron, you wouldn't have had that. It's the anti-Americanism and the anti-Trumpism. So I don't, if you went to 10 Canadians, and this is Toronto, so that's, I think Torontonians are different than someone from St. John, New Brunswick, or Red Deer, Alberta. I think Torontonians, and I say that as a reluctant Torontonian, I think it was anti-Trumpism more than anti-Americanism, but the two of them go hand in hand. The reason why people hate Trump is because he is the most American of Americans. Yeah. Whereas the reason Obama was so beloved by Canadians is because he was the least American president by certain measures. Yeah. He believed in the post-American world. He believed, he did not believe in American exceptionalism. He said that.
Well, his very first speech in Egypt, apologizing for America. You're absolutely right.
So that's why, and of course I saw the other day a poll of foreign countries and foreign leaders when they say they prefer Biden over Trump. Of course they do. They want a weak America who's not going to demand them to pay their freight in NATO, who's not going to get out of the BS of the United Nations when it's global warming. Hey, America, you shut down your... And if you are an OPEC country, would you rather have Joe Biden shutting down American oil and gas? Or would you rather have Trump competing with you and driving down world prices? So I think that antipathy you saw there was anti-Trumpism, but that's a form of anti-Americanism. Okay, it's 10:19. I want to get back on track here. It was great to see
That's
you.
my cue.
Well,
beat it, right?
Now we've got no. You know what? it's 10:20.
Getting back on track means I have to head for that door.
I mean, look
over
what we
there,
got.
right?
We got super chats. We got Ben again. We got Keean.
Yeah.
We got a lot of super chats, and I understand. Is it correct that Avi Yemini has cut an ad for us too? Is that right? All right. So, David, I'll say goodbye to you now.
Okay.
But we'll play this ad. I haven't seen this one from our chief Australia correspondent, who's just killing it down under.
Yep.
Avi Yemini. Go ahead. Take a look.
G'day, guys, from rebelnews.com.au. That's right, from Melbourne, Australia. I hope you're enjoying the election coverage here at Rebel News. Now, I've been on the team for about just over 2 months now. Firstly, I want to thank the entire Rebel News team for welcoming me in with such gratitude and warmth. The amount of successes we've had here in Australia has been incredible in this short amount of time. Check out rebelnews.com.au to see what we're getting up to here on this side of the world. But again, thanks to all our viewers and all our supporters around the world for ensuring that we can spread even all the way down under to rebelnews.com.au.
I've shown you videos by Tamara Yugolini, by David, Menzies, by Drea, Humphrey, by Andrew. Here's Keean's video. Take a look.
Do you love your dog, and would you do anything to protect them? I know I would, and I've been getting more and more concerned recently. See, dogs in Canada, they're not safe anymore. If you've heard the news, Canada's Minister of Infrastructure has a hankering for cute pups just like this one, just like yours. Do you want to go for a walk down the Rideau Canal and know that Catherine McKennell isn't going to take your cute pooch and put them on her plate? Well, you need a shirt just like this. Maybe you don't even live in Ottawa and you're concerned that Catherine McKennell is going to come to your hometown and bribe you with your own tax dollars with some infrastructure announcement if she hasn't lost track of it, that is. Well, if she comes to your town and you have one of these shirts that will ship directly to your door, you can feel safe, and so can your dog, knowing that they'll make it home and Catherine McKenna won't be eating it. Go to catherinemckenna.ca to get yours.
That's great. Keean, that's really fun. You know what? I didn't know you were so funny. I mean, I think of you in different ways. I think adventurous, aggressive, risk-oriented, traveler, puzzler. These are words I think of when I think Keean Bexte. I didn't know you were so funny.
No, I'm just an everyday comedian, Ezra.
No, I'm serious. That was really funny. I didn't know what. I think you got to let that side of your show from time to time.
Well, I'll have to edit more videos, I guess. It's all in the timing.
Yeah, no, it was great. And your dog, what's your dog's name? Did you freeze there for a second? What's your dog's name? I think we might have lost the connection there. Did we lose the connection? Oh, we got a bit of a delay. Is it Dixie?
Do you hear me? Yeah, it is Dixie.
Is that a boy or a girl?
Girl.
Okay. That is a cute dog. And just that super long tongue licking the nose thing. That was perfect. That was really fun. I think we're having a bit of a connection problem. I promised people the video was so nice we'll watch it twice. Let's watch it one more time right now. And now that we know the dog's name is Dixie and it's a girl, let's take a look.
Do you love your dog, and would you do anything to protect them? I know I would, and I've been getting more and more concerned recently. See, dogs in Canada, they're not safe anymore. If you've heard the news, Canada's Minister of Infrastructure has a hankering for cute pups just like this one, just like yours. Do you want to go for a walk down the Rideau Canal and know that Catherine McKennell isn't going to take your cute pooch and put them on her plate? Well, you need a shirt just like this. Maybe you don't even live in Ottawa and you're concerned that Catherine McKennell is going to come to your hometown and bribe you with your own tax dollars with some infrastructure announcement if she hasn't lost track of it, that is. Well, if she comes to your town and you have one of these shirts that will ship directly to your door, you can feel safe, and so can your dog, knowing that they'll make it home and Catherine McKenna won't be eating it. Go to catherinemckennel.ca to get yours.
Keean, I've watched that video 4 times now. It makes me feel great every time. Now, for some of our viewers who don't know the backstory, can you explain to them what you mean by Catherine McKennel and why you're worried that your dog Dixie would be eaten by Catherine McKennel?
Yeah. Well, Catherine McKenna is a notorious dog eater. We didn't think this was going to be something that was in the news cycle at the start of 2020, but if you had it on your bingo sheet, you're winning, because she was actually in Indonesia about 20 years ago, and she was filming a documentary to show how progressive and well-traveled she is, and on top of attending cockfights, illegal cockfights, and on top of bribing government officials, Catherine McKenna also enjoyed bowls and bowls of dog, and it's as disgusting as it sounds. Really, funnily enough, nobody has asked her about it in the mainstream media. I've been trying to. Not that I'm in the mainstream media, but I've been trying to ask her, and she's just evading my questions every time. She hangs up from every press conference I'm a part of because she doesn't want to be asked how much she really enjoys dogs and what breed is her favorite.
Yeah, and once you know that she eats dogs, to look through her Twitter feed when she talks about dogs and she likes dogs, it just takes on a whole. I really love dogs. I like dogs. It's a nice looking dog you got there. It takes on a whole new meaning when you know that she is a dog aficionado in the gustatory fashion. Now, Keean, we have a bit of an audio thing. I think it's because you're not wearing earphones, so we're getting some sort of feedback there. I think we were hearing it. Why don't we do this? I want to bring Sheila back on to go through some more super chats. Let's figure out some audio thing there. I think it's a lack of headphones thing. If you got the earbuds or whatnot, we'll come back to you. I'm going to bring Sheila back on, and then let's talk one more time because I'd like to get your take on things. I don't know if you've been watching, but we've had Ben Weingarten on. He's the author of the momentous book called American Ingrate about Ilhan Omar. I would like to bring you back on and show some of your interactions with Ilhan Omar, which were internationally important questions. So let's bring you back on in, say, half an hour, and let's just get the earphones things figured out, and then we'll play some of those vids, because I want to show, especially our American viewers, I want to show them the work you were doing in various parts of the U.S. and A, okay?
Great.
All right. Now, Keean, our American special guest all night has been Ben Weingarten, who wrote a biography on Ilhan Omar. And one of your most viral videos, not just on YouTube, but it went in all sorts of social media, and then it was turned into the meat of a political ad, was when you found Ilhan Omar first after the revelations that she had a sham marriage with her brother for fraudulent purposes, immigration, whatever it was. And I remember our conversation, you said, oh, Ezra, I'm going to go to Washington and find Ilhan Omar. And I remember saying to you, Keean, that's crazy. There's 1,000 journalists in Washington. They'll find her in a second. They know where she hangs out. We're here in Canada. The idea that we would go down to Washington and find her is such chutzpah. And I remember saying, oh, go to Minnesota. And you went to Minnesota, but then you went to Washington. And I couldn't believe it. You found Ilhan Omar before any reporter in Washington, and I don't think she was hiding, because you found her in a field, a lawn, on the Capitol. She wasn't holed up in a hotel. She wasn't like Hunter Biden hiding. She was just there. No one in the Washington, D.C. media party even bothered to try and find her. You found her.
Yeah, and like you said, it was not hard. And I found her, but other journalists knew where she was. There were other journalists there when I was there. Ilhan Omar was in the field, on the congressional lawn, at a Stop the Muslim Ban is what it was called, this event. And there was other journalists there covering that story. But when it came to that that stunt.
I think we froze up there a second. We had audio issues, got them fixed. I think we got a little frozen video. Why don't we play that great, I call it a walking scrum. Do you have that video handy there? All right, we were just setting the whole thing up here. Take a look at Keean.
And I'm going to ask her some questions. Let's see what she says. Ilhan, if I could get a moment of your time, could you tell me why you filed illegal tax returns in 2014 and 2015?
On the Ipswich committee?
Can you tell me definitively or not, is Ahmad Elsi your brother?
For the markup?
Yeah. Is he your brother?
We're in the middle of the legislative briefing.
We're going, yeah.
Is he your brother?
We're going to which one?
It's Foreign Affairs. I'll go with you. Can you tell me definitively, yes or no, is he your brother? And why can't you answer that question?
The remarks you gave me earlier.
Why did you refer to him as your child's uncle on Instagram? And why did you lie on court documents saying that you hadn't seen him since 2011, when in fact you'd been talking to him all the time on Instagram?
Sir, we're not doing ambush interviews.
This isn't an ambush.
You can send me an email.
Why are you so afraid to answer these questions?
Thank you. So we have budget and HVAC.
How can anyone take you credibly on the student loan tax file when you were cheating on your taxes in 2014? And how can you call for Donald Trump's tax filings when nobody can trust you on the file at all? And why are you scared to answer the questions?
Excuse me.
What are you hiding?
Trying to find my phone at the moment.
So that you can go on Instagram and talk to your brother? Now, I don't know why Ilhan Omar is so afraid to answer very simple questions. If I asked you, did you marry your sibling? You know what the answer to that is? No, at least it should be. I don't know why she's not answering these questions. I don't know why she's so scared. It certainly makes her look guilty on a bunch of different counts. Thank you so much for following this story. If you want to pitch in to my coverage, please go to rebelinvestigates.com. There you can pitch in a few bucks to help cover the cost of my flights and the Ubers that it takes to follow congresswomen like this around. For the Rebel.media, I'm Keean Bexte. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed our...
That was great. There was even a little moment of humor there where he told her where she was going. That wasn't all. Keean went back to Capitol Hill and scrummed her again. Can you find that other video where he asked Ilhan Omar, would she disavow the violence? I think we got Keean back online. Let's put him on now. We'll set up this. Keean, we got you back. Your second video, I think it might have actually been the first one. You asked Ilhan Omar to disavow, I think it was an Antifa violence. Is that right?
Yeah, it was. There was an attack on an ICE facility in Washington.
By ICE, just for our viewers, that's the immigration. That's a U.S. immigration police.
Yeah, so there was an attack by an Antifa assailant on one of those facilities, and I was in Congress attending one of the committee meetings, and it just so happened that the whole squad was coming to party. So Ilhan Omar, Ariana Presley, AOC, and I asked them pretty clearly, will you condemn this violence? And I mean, it was pretty fitting, a foreshadow to what the next presidential election was going to look like, because they're not condemning the violence that is gripping the United States right now. What we saw in Kenosha, they were big fans of that, which I suppose was to their detriment. Obama, in the last, when Obama was running against Mitt Romney, he actually won the county that Kenosha is in by 57%. Now Donald Trump is reporting 2-1 in that county. So it looks like the riots are not paying off for the Democrats, and they really should have condemned them when I asked them to.
Let's take a look at that right now. We got the video of that.
In Washington over the weekend. It's easy to condemn terrorism. Will you condemn it?
Is it clear?
Antifa firebombed a facility in Tacoma over the weekend. And it's an ICE facility. Will you condemn them for that? Will you condemn Antifa for the attack in Washington?
We'll be making statements.
It's easy to condemn a terrorist attack. We're wondering if you'll condemn the ICE attack again, the Antifa attack against an ICE facility in Tacoma, Washington over the weekend. No? Do you condemn Antifa for their violent actions against American law enforcement?
Okay, so now you're getting in the way of me walking, so I'm asking you to please back up. Sir?
Do you condemn Antifa?
What I'm condemning is a lack of journalistic integrity, and you're not respecting my physical space right now, and I'm going to ask you to step away.
And Antifa didn't respect the integrity of that building.
You can give me a card and we can respond.
So you're not going to condemn them? This isn't a journalistic ethics thing. I'm asking questions that CNN won't. Will you condemn Antifa?
Sir, asking one more time to please scoot over.
Now, these questions that I asked them were very simple, and of course, they didn't really have much of an answer. Now, I waited as the committee meeting where they were going to grill Kellyanne Conway, I waited for it to conclude, and as I did, members of the media who are typically waiting outside of the doors where staff and members walk in, I saw a few heads poking out into the hallway, and after I sort of stepped into the shadows, they all sort of fled out, and I was able to ask them all the same question and kind of got the same results, but I did get an answer from one of them. Would you like to condemn Antifa for their attack on an ICE facility?
Well, obviously, any attack on any facility is something that we shouldn't condone as the United States government.
Thank you. Why is it so hard to condemn terrorism? Well, it's hard for the Democrats, I think, because a large part of their grassroots support, their activist support, would be alienated if they did condemn Antifa as a whole. I think that's a serious problem in American politics, and particularly in the Democratic Party. And I'm going to be very interested to ask presidential candidates, presidential nominees going forward if they will condemn Antifa, just as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, and others refused to do today. For the Rebel.media, I'm Keean Bexte.
Keean, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun to be able to do that. That was in the before times, before the pandemic really hit hard.
You've had a few interactions with Ilhan Omar. Now she recognizes you, and she's less chatty. There's something about having access to the Capitol Hill building. You have to, you can't be physical. You have to, go through metal detector, etc. But they really do give media access close up to very senior policymakers, legislators. You have more access in the White House and the American Congress than you do in Canada's own parliament, because they have the First Amendment down there. They allow all sorts of reporters there, don't they?
Yeah, and the First Amendment doesn't just apply to Americans, it applies to anyone on American soil. It was a little bit harder to get into the White House. It's very easy to get into Congress. But, I'm really proud of the fact that we're able to.
Keean, I'm sorry, I'm hearing in my ear that Biden is speaking, so I'm going to cut you off and we're going to go straight to a feed of Joe Biden. Oh, we're just grabbing that. We'll have that in a second. I think it's a very strategic move by Biden to speak. I predict he'll say, hey, everybody, let's put this on ice for a couple of days.
I'm surprised he's still awake.
We knew because of the unprecedented early vote and the mail-in vote that it was going to take a while. We're going to have to be patient until the hard work of tallying the votes is finished. And it ain't over till every vote is counted. Every ballot is counted. But we're feeling good. We're feeling good about where we are. We believe one of the nets has suggested we've already won Arizona, but we're confident about Arizona. That's a turnaround. We also just called it for Minnesota. And we're still in the game in Georgia, although that's not one we expected. And we're feeling real good about Wisconsin and Michigan. And by the way, it's going to take time to count the votes. We're going to win Pennsylvania. I've been talking to folks in Philly, Allegheny County, Scranton, and they're really encouraged by the turnout and what they see. Look, You know, we could know the results as early as tomorrow morning, but it may take a little longer. As I've said all along, it's not my place or Donald Trump's place to declare who's won this election. That's the decision of the American people. But I'm optimistic about this outcome. And I want to thank every one of you who came out and voted in this election. And by the way, Chris Coons and the Democrats, congratulations here in Delaware. Hey, John, the Gov, yeah, the whole team, man. You've done a great job. I'm grateful to the poll workers, to our volunteers, our canvassers, everyone who participated in this democratic process. And I'm grateful to all of my supporters here in Delaware and all across the nation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And folks, you heard me say it before. Every time I walk out of my grandpa's house up in Scranton, he'd yell, "Joey, keep the faith." And my grandma, when she was alive, yelled, "No, Joey, spread it. Keep the faith, guys. We're going to win this." Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your patience is great. Let's walk over here.
Short message there.
I'm surprised he's awake.
Yeah, he's surprised he's awake. He forgot his lines. His wife had to be there to remind him where he was and to talk about the governor and where to go. He put on a brave face. This is not the result they thought. They thought they were going to... Sorry, go ahead. I hear in my ear. Trump just tweeted, "I will be making a statement tonight, a big win." Now, that's manifestly true. He has had big wins. Florida, Ohio, Indiana, Iowa. These were places that were contests. Georgia, not sealed, but strongly leading. The states in question, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, I think Minnesota's gone to the Democrats. Arizona, pretty close. I think that's going to the Democrats. Nevada, too early to say. Here's another tweet by Trump. "We are up big, but they are trying to steal the election. We will never let them do it. Votes cannot be cast after the polls are closed." Well, you can see things shaping up, isn't it? So he's not saying they won. He's saying big wins. Can you go back to the first tweet? Let's read it carefully. If you can grab that Trump tweet from a moment ago, I just want to see it. I don't think he declared victory or that he won, as in won everything. He said, "I will be making a statement tonight, a big win." Well, maybe that is categorical. We are up big, but they are trying to steal the election. We will never let them do it. Votes cannot be cast. So we are up big is very true. I will be making a statement tonight, a big win. That's rather more conclusive, isn't it? Has he tweeted anything else? Scroll down a bit, please. I think that's it. We're looking really good all over the country. That was 6 hours ago. So it is a fact that Joe Biden's got to be scared with the result because no one in the Democrat, liberal, media, political, industrial complex thought Trump would be a contender. But a win by one electoral college vote or a win by 100 is still a win. Ronald Reagan beat Walter Mondale by winning every single electoral college vote except for the state of Minnesota. Every state except Minnesota and D.C. But so what? The biggest win or the slenderest win, a win is a win. If Joe Biden wins by one vote, by one electoral college vote, he still wins. I don't know. Momentum is with Trump for now, but you drag this thing out another week or 9 days, as some Democrats are talking about, that don't look good. What do you think, Keean?
It all depends on which votes are the ones being counted, and it's really hard to tell that right now. I think that Pennsylvania right now is actually looking really good for Donald Trump. I'm not an American. I'm not an expert, but from the numbers that I've been looking at, Pennsylvania does look good. So does Wisconsin. And I think by the math that I've been seeing, if he gets Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, I think he can. I think he can take this home if he gets Georgia. Which, I mean, I don't think Georgia's really up in contention. I think that's sort of a fantasy of the left, and maybe a fantasy of the people behind the cameras at Fox News. I don't know what they've been doing today. I've been sort of going between our coverage and their coverage here tonight, and their disdain in calling Florida for Donald Trump and their early calling of Arizona when even CNN wasn't doing that. It really makes me wonder. And Tucker Carlson, actually, I recommend people go to check out what he said about this. He said that the majority of the mainstream media really needs to be fired and learn how to change a transmission and put up drywall, because that's actually honorable work rather than misleading the American public as much as they do, whether they're in the mainstream media or pollsters. I think that the big takeaway from this election and what Donald Trump really won on, and it all came from the second debate, is the resource vote. It was overlooked by Joe Biden's campaign. It was a weak spot going into it, and he made sure he lost a lot of those votes in the second debate when he said that show the video of me saying I'll ban fracking. I never said that. And then Donald Trump did exactly that. Joe Biden vowed that he would ban fracking, and that caused Democratic candidates, to disavow Joe Biden. That actually happened. I think it's the second district in New Mexico. Shoctil Torres Small, I think is her name, disavowed Joe Biden. An incumbent Democrat in the House of Representatives had to disavow the Democratic nominee because he said that he was going to put about 30% of her constituency out of work. And that same thing is translating to Pennsylvania, and it'll translate to the rest of the Rust Belt as well, I think.
Well, let me talk about a couple of things that Biden said specifically. He talked about Pennsylvania, and he referred to Allegheny County, which is the county in which Pittsburgh, one of the major cities, is. Philadelphia is in Philadelphia County. Obviously, Biden leads there fairly significantly, 3-1. So there's about 150,000 vote lead there. So with half the votes counted, let's just say that stays on track. So another 150,000 votes for Biden in Philly. Now, Allegheny County, it's 1/3 counted. Again, extrapolating, you're going to get another 150,000 votes for Biden before the night's done. So that's another 300,000 votes for Biden. I'm playing mathematical pundit here. So you add 300,000 votes to the Democrats in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Trump's still ahead if I'm reading the results right, because right now he's got a lead of about 600,000. Let me read a note from the New York Times. This is what the New York Times says. If there are a significant number of mail ballots outstanding at the end of the night, the reported totals could be relatively stronger for Republicans. I don't really understand what that means, other than they're suggesting that the Republicans might even have greater strength. So who knows what kind of chicanery the Democrats are up to, but Pennsylvania right now is looking strong for Trump. Michigan, because Wayne County, where Detroit is, well, you know, let me just look at it right now. Yeah, only 1/3 counted. I don't know. Trump's he's got 41%, but I'm worried about the uncounted votes there. Maybe
that was 41% in Wayne County?
Yeah, in Wayne County,
that's better than I would.
Trump has 41% of the vote, and 1/3 are counted. So he's behind by. Pardon me?
What was going on in Philadelphia was they quit counting the mail-in ballots tonight, and that means that the remaining number of mail-in ballots to count is about 200,000. They counted 70,000. There was somewhere between there, and what they counted and what's left over added up to about 300,000, which means that if Donald Trump secures Pennsylvania tonight with real votes cast today by over 200,000 votes, there's no way that the mail-in ballots will be able to contribute to bringing it back to a Joe Biden win. If 100% of those ballots voted for Joe Biden, and whether or not Donald Trump is able to squeeze out a win over 200,000, who knows?
Well, look, I don't understand all the ins and outs of the mail-in ballots and whatnot. Things look, I mean, I think Minnesota is going Democrat. I just don't think there's anything that's going to change on that. Earlier today, I was poking around with Justin on the map, and I think that Trump absolutely needs to win 2 out of the 3 remaining, Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. And if he loses Georgia, God forbid, he needs to win all 3 of them. Arizona, I think Biden's got that. Nevada, too early to say. I don't know. I mean, Joe Biden thought that he would be president now because his whole world said, oh yeah, sure thing, Trump's going to be crushed, orange man bad. The people seem to say otherwise. Very interesting, very interesting. The one thing that does irk me is that Texas ever came so close. Now it looks like the Trump lead in Texas is expanding. Now it's an 8-point lead, but that still don't make me feel good to see Democrats that strong. Keean, any last comments before we say goodbye to you for now? Because we got some super chats I got to catch up. Anything else you want to mention? Anything that caught your eye?
Yeah, I wouldn't be, I mean, it would have been nice to see Texas. Everyone likes to think it's a great conservative place. Demographics are changing in Texas, which is obviously a problem. But Donald Trump also didn't spend as much resources there as he could have, which is fine. He needs to win 50%. Like you said, it doesn't matter if he wins by 70% or 50%. He just needs to get past that 50% mark, or more than Joe Biden. Really, it's all about making the vote efficient, which is why the Democrats will win the popular vote. They are going to get millions and millions and millions of votes from California, but that doesn't change how many electoral college votes they get from that state. So I think from the folks that I was speaking to in the United States, it was sort of tactical plan, strategy of the Trump campaign to not spend so much resources in Texas, and really getting it between 50 and 55% means that they spent resources, time, money, and talent more efficiently in other states. So I mean, it would be nice to see a 65% win in Texas, but it doesn't have to be that high.
I get your point. It just gives me a foreboding for the future. I just checked California. They haven't even counted 2/3 of the vote. And the Democrats are ahead by 4 million votes there. So that shows you the wisdom of the founders and their electoral college, because basically if every state, they could slosh their surplus votes into other states, California would basically make the entire country Democrat. It just would. I mean, by the time all those votes are counted, there's probably going to be 5 or 6 million surplus Democrat votes in California who want to share their state's wisdom with the rest of the country. Well, Keean, great to catch up with you. Congratulations on your good work. I understand that Twitter is literally blocking one of Trump's tweets. Oh my God. We are up big, but they are trying to steal the election. We will never let them do it. Votes cannot be cast after the polls are closed. That is being censored by Twitter.
I noticed that actually there's something interesting. I mean, it's not a big deal, but the spelling of polls was wrong when that tweet was up on the screen earlier. It was POLES.
Right. I think he deleted it and retyped it, and then they slapped a ban on it. Imagine censoring the President of the United States.
It's a shame.
Well, it's interesting, and I wouldn't doubt that the censorship that we ourselves have experienced, plus countless millions of others, helped to tilt this election by several points. And if Biden does indeed win in the end, which is quite possible, he will have the Twitters, Googles, YouTubes, Facebooks of the world to thank for it. And they will continue to censor for him because they are even more to the left than he is. All right, we'll say goodnight to you for now. Keean, thanks for your help. And boy, what a night, eh? Very close.
Certainly. Good night, Ezra.
Okay, good night. Oh, I hear the lad. I hear the bloke. And now I see him Avi Yemini is I live and breathe. How you doing, mate?
I'm trying to get the camera. G'day, guys.
Well, what a pleasure to have you. You know, it is 1:18 a.m. Late Tuesday night, so I guess you could say it is Wednesday morning here. We've got 5,000 folks on the live stream who've been with us for a very long time. We're all very curious how it's going to go. What are you doing? Are you at some watch party at a pub or something?
We're at the pub. We're watching. I don't know if you can see it properly. We've got right now the rules around pubs are very. You can't have many people in a pub, so we have a TV there, and we're sitting here. And listen, we're in Australia. We're ahead of time, so we can tell you what's about to happen. Trump is going to win.
Well, you know what? I hope so. I'm still nervous, but I'm far less nervous than I was 6 hours ago. I think he's had an incredible night.
He has, and there's been ups and downs, and I can't lie. We've gotten a little bit nervous here at times, but we've stayed strong because he's got this. He's going to win.
Now, are you at a party? Are those your personal friends? Are you just there?
Yeah. So should I show them?
Sure. I'm just curious. Like, are you with?
It's my brother. I've got my brother here. Hold on. Let me introduce you. Does anyone here not want to be seen? By who? By thousands on Rebel News.
Hey team, how you doing? Hey everybody.
That's my brother, if you can't tell.
He's so handsome. Are you sure you're brothers?
That's my brother from another mother. He's got the right hat.
Oh, yeah.
My jumper.
Right on.
So it's all, and we have, they have the TV here. The owner here is, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it loudly, he's a big Trump supporter in the heart of socialist Victoria.
Wow. Well, so, you know what? There's an underground army. And I'm sure that you're welcome at any pub in the city because you have been fighting for freedom and against Dan Andrews' illiberal lockdown. So,
well, these are the guys that have suffered through that.
Yeah.
You know, right now he's in this room. I don't know if you can see the size of the room. It's not a small room.
Yeah,
you're allowed.
Normally have 100, 200 people in that room.
Sorry?
Normally you'd have 100 people in that room, but the lockdown.
100 people easy, and you're not allowed more than 20 people while we have 0 cases of coronavirus. Yeah. So if Biden wins, this or worse is the future for most of the United States. So we're going to stay strong. Trump has this. We're already celebrating the win because in Australia it's tomorrow.
Right.
Tomorrow he's won.
Well, listen, my friend, I've told you this even just today on our daily staff call. I want to thank you not only for doing great journalism that we love to broadcast, but I truly believe you have been the man of the moment. You have been the seed crystal around which Australians have decided to form a resistance to the infringement of their liberties. I truly believe that your journalism and activism has helped free your countrymen. And it's impressive and inspiring to watch.
I appreciate it, but there's no way I could have done this without the support of the entire Rebel team. So I'm not alone. You can thank me all you want. I've been at this for years here, and in the short 2 months, it's been 2 months already, by the way, Ezra.
Wow.
In the short 2 months since my first arrest, my first day at work, we've managed to do more than what I've managed to do here in years. So yes, I'm happy. I appreciate all the support you give me, but and it's just not me. I'm not alone. We're in this together, as they say. As Daniel Andrews has said plenty of times in Melbourne, we're in this together.
All right, mate. Well, I'll let you get back to your friends and your brother. And thanks for the update. And good luck to us all. Take care, my friend.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Right. That's an excerpt from my daily TV show that I do live at 12 noon Eastern time. We talk about the news of the day. We play interesting viral videos. And most importantly, I take your questions that you chat to me through YouTube's Super Chat. I think that's the funnest part of it. So tune in every weekday at 12 noon Eastern time only here at rebelnews.com.